On a foggy morning in 1950, just off the quiet shoreline of Harbor Beach, Michigan, a serene cruise turned deadly. What was supposed to be a leisurely Sunday outing for a group of businessmen from Benton Harbor became one of the worst maritime tragedies in Lake Huron history. This is End of the Road in Michigan. Today's episode revisits a largely forgotten disaster, the collision of the passenger steamer City of Cleveland 3 and the Norwegian freighter Ravnefjeel, an accident that claimed lives, shattered communities, and changed maritime safety standards on the Great Lakes. It was June 25, 1950, 6:15 a.m. A thick fog hung over Lake Huron. Visibility was near zero. On board the City of Cleveland 3 were 125 passengers, many asleep in their staterooms. The steamer was en route to Detroit, carrying civic leaders and businessmen from Benton Harbor on an annual cruise. Then came the impact. The Norwegian freighter Ravnefjeel, heading north toward the Sioux Locks, rammed into the side of the City of Cleveland 3, slicing a 60-foot hole through its hull. Some passengers were thrown into the icy lake. Others were buried beneath collapsed cabins and debris. The crew of the City of Cleveland 3 worked fast to prevent panic and organize rescues. Lifeboats from the Ravnefjeel were launched immediately, pulling survivors from the water and helping the injured. But for some, help came too late. 3 men from Benton Harbor were confirmed dead. Among them was Police Chief Alvin Boyd, a widely respected leader known for building his department from scratch. Former Mayor Merwin Stuke was also lost, thrown overboard during his morning walk on the deck. Fred Skelly, a local car dealer, was never found, his body lost to the lake despite an exhaustive Coast Guard search. These weren't just names on a casualty list, they were pillars of their community. Their deaths left a void that rippled through Benton Harbor for years. Local papers like the Herald Palladium and Detroit Free Press covered the tragedy extensively. Dr. Charles J. Ozerin, a physician from Benton Harbor who survived, described the scene as chaos. Debris everywhere. Screams, confusion. Another survivor, Thomas Spooner, recalled being thrown into the water and clinging to wreckage until a lifeboat pulled him to safety. Richard Lybrook suffered severe injuries but was pulled alive from the wreck. Even the Coast Guard team at Harbor Beach was shaken. Chief Boatswain's mate Kenneth Call later described the foggy search as like moving through a dream, but the devastation was real. The City of Cleveland 3 was no minor vessel. Built in 1916, this 425-foot steamer once symbolized Great Lakes luxury, with room for 750 passengers. It had a spotless safety record, until that morning. Though badly damaged, the ship remained afloat and later made it to Detroit. The Ravnefjeel suffered only minor dents and continued on its route, but the investigation that followed was less smooth. Both captains, Rudolph Kiesling of the Cleveland and Rolf Thorson of the Ravnefjeel, were grilled by the U.S. Coast Guard. Fog and miscommunication were listed as the root causes. No charges were filed. Still, maritime safety protocols were overhauled, particularly around ship-to-ship communication in low visibility. To make matters worse, the collision came just 24 hours after another tragedy near Benton Harbor. A Northwest Orient DC-4 airliner crashed into Lake Michigan, killing all 58 aboard. It was one of the deadliest air disasters in Michigan history. Some believe lightning brought the plane down. The fuselage was never found. For a town like Benton Harbor, losing key leaders at sea and dozens more by air in a single weekend was almost too much to bear. 75 years have passed. The ships are gone. The newspaper clippings are faded. And many who remembered the crash firsthand are no longer with us. But the story of the City of Cleveland 3 remains a quiet chapter in Michigan's maritime history. An accident caused by fog, compounded by silence, and remembered by too few. Today, Harbor Beach is peaceful. But just offshore, under the gray waters of Lake Huron, history still lingers. You've been listening to End of the Road in Michigan. If this story moved you, share it. Leave a comment. Let's keep Michigan history alive, one story at a time. See you next time.